The next 2 Mondays is to kind of share some of the knowledge that we have. We're not experts in officiating, but I think we do have some strong knowledge and some presentation skills, especially when talking about officiating and stuff. So bear with us for the next hour and 5 minutes.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about what we're talking about today. I think Greg got back on, but so hopefully no one else is having power issues. But we are going to record this meeting. So if you get kicked off or anything, you just send me another text if it's out again for him. So maybe going in and out for some folks. But I think this recording, Greg will send it out afterwards as well. But yeah, so what we're doing today, here's the agenda for the meeting. We're going to talk about some of the association reminders that Greg sent out in his latest email. Then we're going to talk about some game management pieces today. So that's kind of the topic for today's virtual clinic is game management and some of those non-rule specific topics that we can work on as basketball officials. Justin pulled out some video clips to use today. And then he's going to talk about some cataloging plays and how we can do that as officials to help step up our games and help us try to identify what types of plays go into what buckets, and then how we can kind of create a processes for ourselves to get those plays right. Then we're going to close, and then we at the end, this will be optional. So we expect to have that first up to the closing done within an hour or so. But for those of you who are interested and want to stay on the call afterwards, we are going to do an optional Kahoot game. If you've never heard of Kahoot, it is an online quiz software, and essentially we're gonna play a trivia game for the 15 misunderstood rules in high school basketball. When we get to that at the end, I'll share with you how to play. You'll be able to play either on your cell phone or on your computer, or just any kind of device. And the winners of those will get some prizes that we'll talk about when we get to the end. So if you are interested, encourage all of you to stay on and play the Kahoot trivia game with us at the end. All right, so some association reminders. Most of this came from Greg's last email, so it shouldn't be any surprise. But the state clinic is next Tuesday, so 6:30 p.m. Cardinal Gibbons. Definitely be on time, be early for that one. So 6:30 next Tuesday, Cardinal Gibbons. The fair, I believe, is over at that point, so I don't think there should be fair traffic involved. But as always, we get around that time, traffic can pop up anywhere in the triangle. So definitely be on time. The rules exam, I believe, is now open. The deadline to complete that is November 4th. It's on Dragonfly, so make sure you get that done. It is open book, right? So you take it online. If you've never taken the rules test before, you take it online. You can have the rule book sitting in front of you. I know that's how I take it. So definitely use your rule books as you're going through it. But the deadline to complete that is November 4th. Scrimmages, those are going to be given out this year at the clinics. So we've got these 2 virtual clinics this week and next week, and then 2 more in-person clinics, and your clinic leaders will be giving out scrimmages at those last 2 clinics. So make sure you're in attendance for those. Those will not be on Arbiter through self-assign this year. And then just a reminder to check out the TBOA website, refthetriangle.com. I know there's a lot of great content that gets put up on that, all the time. I think they make updates to that just about weekly. So new plays, new bios on some of our awesome officials. There's a lot of resources on there to help you level up your game. So definitely encourage you to take advantage of that as we go through the season. I think Greg's back on, I think. Greg, any association reminders, anything we missed? If you're here. Might get kicked off again. All right, we'll save him for the end. All right, so we're gonna start with some game management stuff. And I'm gonna start here with, this is one of the presentations that we use with our officials at NC State quite a bit, and it seems to be something that they like. So I'm hoping that we can have some good discussion here about game management. And at the end, when I get through some of the tools that will be on here, I'd love to hear feedback and any tools that you use in a game management scenario to help control the game. So be thinking about those as we go through this. All right, so the first question really, when we talk about game management, these are things that, yes, we're using tools from the rule book, but a lot of it is kind of outside the rule book, right? It's how we, communicate with each other, how we communicate with players and coaches, and how we control the environment of the game, right? So the first question, really is, what's our goal? When we have game management scenarios, when we have, difficult end of game settings, when we have, potentially fights going on, when we have coaches that are mad at us, like really just in general, what is our goal as officials when it comes to game management? And I think if you asked all 178 people on this call, you'd probably get about 178 different answers, right, to this question. So
hey Ben, look,
yeah.
I got a question. We're not seeing the full screen.
Okay.
We're seeing like
There we go. That's better. Yeah, I got like there we go.
yeah.
Good now? Are we good
That's
now?
better. Yeah.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
I don't know that I changed much, but that's perfect. Okay, so what's our goal in the game management scenario? Again, I think we get a lot of different answers, right? I think one of the things that a lot of maybe officials or non-officials would think about could be, is our goal to be fair to both teams, right? Is that our end goal? Is our goal to calm everyone down, right? I think we know that that's probably never going to happen in our world, right? Like we can't control emotions. Is our goal to make calls that coaches agree with, right? I think we all would probably say that that's not our goal in a game management scenario. Is our goal to prevent injuries? Certainly, maybe that plays a factor, but at the end of the day, we're not the ones out there actually playing. We're not the ones that are gonna strap people down from throwing elbows like in this picture, right? Is our goal to prevent fights? Is that our goal in game management? Just to simply, make sure there's no altercations. So again, I think we have lots of different answers to this question. One of the ones that I really liked, and I heard this from Ed Rush, who used to be the NBA director of officials back at a tournament at NC State years and years ago, is that our goal as officials in a game management scenario could be to get to the next play. And I think, when I first heard that, I'm like, well, it really doesn't have anything to do with solving the situation, right? It's like doesn't have anything to do with actually being fair or, controlling anything. But when I started to think about it, I think most of the problems that we have in basketball games happen during dead ball times, right? They happen after we've blown the whistle and everybody's mad at us. No matter if we get the call right or we get the call wrong, half the gym's not going to like it, right? When we have dead ball altercations, we have a hard foul and then players get up and they get each other's face, or taunting, or they're shoving each other, right? Or any other of 100 things that happen during dead ball scenarios. So for us, we have very little control over what happens on the basketball court, but we do have control over when we put the ball back in play. And something pretty magical happens most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time when we put the ball back in play. They tend to focus on the game again. The players and the coaches, right? Now they're on to the next play. They have to start coaching, they have to start playing. And oftentimes they forget about what just happened, right? Or at least it moves to the back burner. So, some of I think for us, it's just how do we manage situations to get started again as quickly as possible. One of the things that we like to use at NC State is the game control thermometer. So we'll go through this pretty quickly, but It's the idea that in a game, our emotions and intensity of the players, the coaches, us, the spectators, it's always fluctuating up and down, right? The intensity when we start the game is oftentimes not the intensity when we end the game for whatever reason, right? And as officials, we have to have an awareness of what that intensity level is, and then how we can help manage that intensity, right? So what I'd love to hear is maybe a couple people unmute themselves. And what are some situations that causes the intensity of a game to rise? What causes the intensity to rise in the game?
A hard foul.
Yeah. Contact, absolutely. Hard fouls. What else?
Assistant coaches,
How so?
they tend to involve themselves in the game. And what I've noticed over the years, assistant coaches tend to be the magnets for players to watch a little bit more, and they start grabbing on that tempo, that temperature of the assistant coaches that you cannot keep calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Trash talking.
Trash talking, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Trash talking between players. How about
Bad game management.
Yeah. Like what?
Not blowing your whistle.
Not blowing your whistle. Okay. One more. Give me one more good one.
Being a ball watcher, not watching off the ball
Okay.
for cheap shots, etc.
Yeah. So not having good court coverage and missing obvious contact, right? Awesome. So those are all things that can cause the intensity to rise, right? Here's some others on here: close games, rival teams, big plays. If it's time and score, contact, unsportsmanlike, I think we have an idea of those, right? And I think if you're like me, you can kind of feel that intensity start to creep up, right? So for us, it's then comes down to, okay, as the intensity is rising, how are we able to help control that, and what tools do we have as officials, right? So let's talk about some of those tools that we may have to help control intensity. So I think one big one is our voice and our whistle, right? Displaying confidence, being loud and proud when we make calls, and really being able to sell that the calls that we're making are correct. Communicating clearly, right? Oftentimes, if we have miscommunication with the table or coaches or players or partners, that all just breeds crazy situations that make intensity rise. And then important plays deserve important calls, right? As that intensity is rising, we get to the end of a game scenario, we have a game-changing call. Think of the most obvious scenario is we have a block charge right at the end of the game that's going to decide whether a team goes up. We have to match some of that intensity with our whistle, our signals, and our voice, right? So important plays deserve important calls. Let's talk about the next one. I don't know how many of you still have the antennas on the TVs. I know I have one just to get second TV of football on Sundays, but we have to have awareness and have our antennas up. Again, bad things happen during dead balls, right? So during dead ball, that's not a time for us to take a break. That's a time for us to be aware, right? So eyes on players, especially during dead ball scenarios. Using timeouts in crunch time, right? Like oftentimes, timeouts can be a little bit of a break for us, but when we get to crunch time and we have that intensity rising, that's a time for us to come together as officials and discuss, end of game scenarios. This player is starting to get out of hand. Watch this matchup. So that's a time for us to utilize. And then identifying problem players early, having those antennas up to see which players, okay, black 15 and white 23 are just going at it and yapping and everything all game, right? We need to be able to identify those two, so we're keeping an eye on them during dead ball. So having that awareness. Communication, right? Preventive officiating. We can help manage that intensity by hoping to delay some of those fouls and violations from happening or prevent them from happening, right? So talking to players, get out of the lane, right? You know, if a player is starting to shove a little bit on rebounds, hey, watch your elbows, or watch pushing off, right? Knowing the players that can help you, identifying players on each team that if there's something that happens, we got a player maybe that makes a really nice dunk and is on the verge of taunting maybe, or just starting to yap, having a player on the team that you can go, hey, take care of number 14 for me so we don't have to, right? And then slowing down our communication. Oftentimes in game management scenarios that are difficult and tough, lots happening. Maybe we have technical fouls or a clock situation. So being able to slow down, talk with our partners, make sure we're going through the entire scenario so we can adjudicate things properly. We know we have our warnings, right? So we have kind of the quiet word. So similar to the preventive officiating is being able to pull a player aside and say, hey, number 14, you're getting close there. After you make baskets by throwing up, a signal or whatever, or you're getting close and stepping over the line on a free throw. So that quiet word is something we can use. We know we have our stop sign. If a coach or a player, usually it's probably a coach, but the coach is starting to push you too far. Coach, that's enough, right? That's a verbal warning that's showing that the entire gym that the coach has been given a warning, and the next time that we're going to have a technical foul, right? And then we have our official team warnings to use, right? So if the bench or if the coach is starting to get a little out of hand, it's not quite enough for a technical foul, we can stop the game, bench warning white, have them write that in the book, and that's an official warning, right? And that's an option for us to use to help calm things down. And then, of course, we have our fouls. We have our technical fouls. We have flagrant fouls, right? We need to be able to assess them when needed, right? So that goes to that accountability piece. If a game is getting out of hand and we are not giving technical fouls when they are earned, right? We're not helping to keep those players, that coach accountable, and to take the steps that we need to do to maintain the game. That also means that coach or those players now, with that experience on Tuesday of being able to say things and do things that are disrespectful and out of hand and show bad sportsmanship, if we as officials are not addressing that properly, that means on Friday they think they can do the same thing to the next crew, right? And of course, anytime we have fouls, we want to make sure we're ensuring the proper enforcement of documentation. So those are some tools, right? So I'm curious, outside of those, what are some of your go-tos, right? When you have a difficult situation with a coach or a player, maybe I can get a couple people to share maybe a tool that you use that wasn't covered. Does anybody have one of those?
Hey, Ben, I have a quick question, and maybe a Greg question. When it comes to taunting, whether it be like a dunk or a big three, should we be erring on the side of like zero tolerance, or on the side of letting them play a little bit, kind of talk trash back and forth?
I'll give you my personal opinion, and then Greg can correct anything. But if we have players taunting each other, I'm going to give them a technical foul, right? Like if a player makes a nice shot and then gives some sort of, is waving goodbye straight into a player's face on the other team, I'm giving them a technical foul immediately.
Zero tolerance.
Now, I would say that if they are, they have some sort of hand signal or something that is, not considered taunting, right? They're just giving a fist pump, or, I had a kid in a football game the other day, give the Ezekiel Elliott like one of these. I think those might be a little more on the line of, were they actually taunting the other team? Maybe maybe some of those are something we could just give them a talking to. But if it's directed at another team or the fans, it's directed at somebody, and it's an action that would be considered taunting, in my mind, that's a technical foul. Greg, I don't know, or Justin, if you have any other thoughts.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Ben. Absolutely. If it is a situation where it's directed at an opponent, there's zero tolerance. And for that matter, an opponent's fan base. Anything that will incite the opposition, that's got to be addressed. You can have a little bit of leniency, maybe if it's toward one of his teammates, toward his bench. Even then, it wouldn't hurt to do one of those quiet talks that you talked about. Just go up to him and say, "Hey, look, you're cutting it close. Be aware. You're better than that. Let's try to, just keep the game going," that type of thing. But again, directed at an opponent, absolutely zero tolerance. So you got to get that one.
Does anybody have a game management go-to that you use? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kevin Revis or Zink. One thing that I use a lot, if they don't listen to me the first time, a quick double foul always calms them down.
Yeah, double foul is a good one. That's a tool that we don't use often enough, I think.
Mhm.
How about one more? Any other game management go-to?
I'll add one more when talking. I'm sorry. When talking to a coach, a phrase I use often is, "Coach, you made your point." Instead of a harsher, if he's not, acting so upset or whatever, I'll tell him, "Coach, you made your point. That's enough," and that usually calms him down.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So Justin's going to go over some video, potentially of some other game management scenarios. I'm going to unshare here, Justin, so it's all you.
All right. If everyone to make this screen, the video go a lot better and a lot cleaner, I need everyone to turn off their cameras. As I turn off my camera too. And we can all confirm that we can see the video with the two teams, one team in black and then one team in white.
Yes.
Yep, I can see it. Yep.
Okay, sweet. So
Yes.
the one thing is, like, I would say it's really not really difficult to find good video as far as when it comes to basketball. But it is a little bit hard to find our basketball in the triangle consistently, and trying to look at ourselves and see some of the things that that we can improve on as an association, but also improve on as an individual official. And yes, we can watch the college basketball games. We can also watch, we can watch some of the NBA games and look at really, like, looking at from an officiating standpoint of just understanding, like, movement, mannerisms, mechanics, game management. Even though the high school, college, and the professional leagues they're all three different games, but I feel like that the philosophies and some of the mechanics can transition from up and down, and it doesn't really matter, if you're excuse me, if you're able to evaluate and look at the game from an officiating standpoint. You can always you can always learn some things and stuff. So what I did is I've gotten really good at I've gotten really good at just really searching for YouTube videos, full game feeds on schools across the country. I know that normally we'll have like one or two excuse me. I know we do have like one or two games a week that are locally televised. And I know that Middle Creek used to live stream their games too. So it's not out of the ordinary. It's not out of the ordinary for us to have at least one or two games a week that we could look at. But I just pulled these games and just really looking at the movement of the lead and the trail in the center. I don't know if anybody saw the movement. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. Oh, saw the movement of the lead at the bottom as he was closing down. He was coming across the lane right there, but then he's making a subtle movement. He's not trying to rush over there because he's trusting his center official to officiate this primary matchup. And as you see, there is a little bit of contact, but the player is able to just pivot and play right at it. And as you can see, the lead is in his close down position. He hasn't crossed the lane. He hasn't committed. He's still officiating somewhat of a similar, the competitive matchup. And then it rotates back out. And then we have a shot. So that's just, if we think about that, that's typically the type of basketball that we have here in the triangle. And I'm going to play this a little bit longer, and you can tell and you can see how we have a little bit of back and forth. But if you look at the officials and not the players, and then look at the play and see, and I'm going to pause it once we get to this, kind of get to this trap at half court. But look at the center official and his potential coverage area, and look at and think about, is there a better position that our center official could be in? Now, roughly, we have a trap here at midcourt. As you can tell, we do get in some of our facilities. We don't have a lot of room on the sidelines to work. And looking the way that the center official is, he probably doesn't need to be right on top of the play. But I could say that he or she should probably maybe another step back away from the play just to officiate this better, and then maybe standing on the sideline, because as this play continues to develop, so I'd like for the center official to maybe be a step back, and then it's okay. You don't necessarily have to be in a statue, because if you look at the top of the volleyball line, we have our trail official who has come up to help officiate this play too. But I think our center official does a very good job of officiating this play and not getting too close. But we can see that our center official, as the ball is released, his eyes are following the ball across the court, when the center official should stay with this competitive matchup, because that player could be knocked to the ground. You can see that the ball's let go, and he's looking at the ball across the court. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be ball watchers. All right. So in this next clip, this is a transition play. We have a one-on-one matchup. We have our lead. We have our trail. We're going from trail to lead. We have our lead that picks up the primary competitive matchup. We have a defender that is stationary They're in an illegal guarding position, and they are in the paint. And I want you to look at the mechanics of our lead official. And this is a bad habit that we all are trying to break and need to break, just because of what we should be doing as far as stopping the clock for a signal, and then instituting our proper player control foul mechanics. This mechanic is, I would say, it's not accepted anymore. It's one that was kind of has evolved, but I think we should kind of, somewhat transition back to what is in the book. So we got our defender is in a legal guarding position. It's a one-on-one matchup. He's got 2 feet on the floor. He's facing the offender. Our offensive player has picked up the ball, but there's only 2 things now that our offensive player could do. He can either shoot or he could either pass the ball. But we, based on our observations here, there's no one in the frame of this play. So we are going to make the assumption that this player is going to shoot the ball. We don't know if he's going to go straight up or if he is going to go through the player. I think our new lead is transitioned into a really good position where they're not trying to get to the end line. They are looking straight into the primary matchup. They have a really good angle. They could see between the 2 players. We're looking at the defense, and we're going to referee the defense and the offense. We do have a hand up, open fist. The start of the mechanic looks really good, but then we punch it through. Not really concerned about the reaction of the player. I would say this is a pretty good sell. But as far as how we should, and I know it's a bad habit that we need to break, but we should be doing the proper high school mechanic for a player control foul. With that, we still can show some personality with it. We still can be emphatic with that. But and the only reason I'm saying that is because when we do that type of mechanic, we turn away from the players, and we take our eyes off of the players. Yes, we do have our partner officials who are coming in and cleaning up, but I think that if we're able to hold and put our hand behind the head and do the proper mechanic, then we can keep our eye on the players and stuff. And as you see, yes, there's another good thing that this official does. He gets a giddy up and makes the he's heading to the table with a little pep in it, to expedite the administration of this foul. Next play is that we're kind of transitioning into some backcourt coverage, and this kind of leads into when I start talking about cataloging plays. The one thing is that we can look at when we're cataloging plays is that probably within the first 2 minutes of the game, we should already know who our best players are. We should already know what the particular tendencies are for both teams. Are they a pressing team? Are they an aggressive defensive team? Do they play person to person? Are they playing zone? Are they doing a quarter court press? Are they running a motion offense? Are they running like a flex? Or they're doing now it's just dribble, drive, and shoot 3-pointers? Or are they running up and down the court? Just trying to get up and down as fast as they can, shoot layups or 3-point shots. But as we're, we do have teams that still press. They kind of, they'll do just a slow press, or they might do an aggressive press. And these are all the things about cataloging plays. But not just individual plays, but more about just, cataloging situations, cataloging particular players and stuff. But I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but as I want to still, kind of move through with this with this video breakdown and stuff. So we also had our center official that was back hanging out, officiating the play too. They were kind of between at half court, helping out our trail officiate the primary matchups that were going on in the backcourt. As you can see, we went from a transition. If you could look at I think I have my cursor up here at the top. We have our lead official, who's not all the way on the baseline, which is good too. Which also means that they were actually helping officiating that quarter, that full court press, and they didn't run all the way down to the baseline just to assume that the lead and the center were going to officiate that play too. So as I move it forward, we do have our lead that was hustling to get to the baseline. We have our trail that is officiating this is a trail. I'm sorry, the center. This is the center's primary matchup, but we also have the lead who has picked up this primary matchup too, because we can look at 21 and 21 are not threats. They're really not, we can have an eye on them, but we're really concerned about this matchup between 4 and 13. 4 is right-handed, so 4 is probably going to go to his right side, continue to the basket, or 4 is a guard, and then we have a forward center. So we can anticipate that either the guard is going to challenge or the guard is going to bring the ball out. The guard brings the ball out. Easy play. Good transition there. So, slow, methodical count. No pressure in the backcourt, but as we can see that the trail is staying roughly about a step or two behind the offensive player with the ball. They have a really good 10-second count. It's consistent. Now, there's another thing about cataloging plays, using a little common sense officiating. Also using your voice, recognizing who our primary ball handlers are. Now I went back probably about a frame, and I'm running this not in full speed, so we can, obviously we can look at this and tell that our antennas are up on 21 and his particular dribble as he makes a move to the basket. I'm not saying that there is a violation, but there is an opportunity for us to recognize that violation. Just a reminder, I'm running this in slow speed, so if this was in full speed, this might be something that we probably are not going to pick up and probably is not a violation. Right there. Let me see if anybody picked that up.
Trouble. Hesitation dribble.
Yes, that was a hesitation dribble. It could have been a carry.
Push off.
We might have a little bit of a push off. I don't know if we have a travel though. We're not really here to kind of discuss, violation, carry, push off, travel. Just more looking at our mechanics, our positioning. Do we have the right angle to make that particular call, or at least officiate the play? Now right here we do have this. The center official has a really good look at it. Our lead official is down here on the baseline, has a really good look at it. Sliding back a few frames. I think our trail kind of hands this play off to the center official and doesn't continue on. That hesitation dribble slash potential carry. Yes, we probably could have we could have had a whistle on that. But I think once we get into the paint, like right here, with the potential contact that we have here from the dribbler, I think that the center official has a really good look at this. The lead is screened out, so the lead's not going to guess on this. The trail probably doesn't. I mean, looking at this angle here, the trail probably doesn't have a really good look at it either. So this is kind of like the potential. Well, this is an area where we need to have strong C's. So when we're doing our pregame and we're talking about strong C's, this is the prime example where we could have a whistle, or whistle from the center and picking up on a strong C call, because this is, granted, this didn't come from the C's area. This is it somewhat is in the C's area, but there's certain times where we look at the diagram of how it's broken down of our areas of coverage, but really looking at this based on our areas of coverage, it's like, who has the best angle? The C has the best angle on this particular play. So,
Hey, Justin,
yes.
shouldn't that trailer be a little bit wider coming down the court?
No. I like this this position from the trail. What we kind of, yes, we can be on the sideline, but then we're far away from this competitive matchup between 21 and 11. And as I hit play, you can see that the trail is starting to widen out as we get closer to in the front court. When we get all 10 players and they all get bunched up together, then yes, we need to widen our angle, and we need to kind of space out and get out of the way. And as you can see that the trail is starting to make his way over to the sideline to open up his angle, and also to get out of the way. But I think as he was coming up the court, I think he was in a perfect position. And if we had another angle, then we could tell that the trail was actually headed out over to the sideline. But when we freeze it here, we have our lead he's in a close down position, because the player was in the middle, the between 21 and 11, it was more kind of shaded towards the center, and that's why the lead closed down. And plus, there's nothing for the lead to look at. There's no competitive matchup. There's no post play. So he's already in a close down position. So he's close enough to the play. So, and then he backs out. We're gonna look at one more play. More of a trap. But it's a slow trap. All right. I don't like, if we look at our lead, we're in a bad position right here. There's nothing where we're at right now. We can't really do anything. Yes, we can get out of bounds, but if we look directly up, we're standing right under the goal. And I think that we're sometimes so enamored with trying to rotate and watch the ball that we sometimes forget that, that we get into the wrong position and we realize that, hey, I'm under the goal and I can't really do anything, because as we let this play rotate, he's backing out. I think if he was standing another foot off the end line and he was back, he was back probably 2 more feet right between the two cheerleaders, then he would have a better view of this play. But I also think that this view that we're looking at right now is actually the view from the center official. And this is primary area coverage for the center official to officiate this play. We do have a foul right there on the back, but he played through it. We're just letting it go. I think we've kind of only looked at I'm gonna switch screens, but we only looked at like I think 4 plays. But and we spent probably like 25 minutes looking at 4 plays. So, and we didn't really have any group discussion. But you could just, I mean, when we're thinking about like looking at ourselves on video or just looking at things, just looking at a normal high school game, getting on YouTube, downloading it, pausing it, going back and forth, just kind of looking at that, you can spend 45 minutes to an hour and you might only see like the first 6 minutes of a quarter, or you might be able to get through a half. Luckily, the way this video that I downloaded was cut up, they kind of cut through all kind of like the dead ball stuff. So yeah. All right, everyone can see my screen again with the cataloging plays, correct?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, so what does that mean? Just a standard definition. What catalog is, it's just a verb. It's also a noun, but what I thought of it is like something that we do is like to make a systematic list of items of the same type. And then when we're thinking about, just from an officiating standpoint, just officiating basketball, we do want to, every situation or every decision that we make or is not made, is something that we catalog. We're cataloging, from the time that we step out on the court to going through warm-ups. We're looking at each player, how they dribble the ball, how they run, how they shoot the ball, how they do a layup. Do they have athletic movements, or are they just going through the motions? And I know we're somewhat doing a process of elimination between like, okay, good players, bad players. Some I would say some teams warm up like they play. Some teams just, they just warm up, and then the next thing you know, they turn on a switch and they're a totally different team from when they warm up. But I think there are we can make some interesting assumptions, and some, we can get a pretty decent understanding of how a team is going to play within warm-ups, but also within the first 5 minutes of play. Really can let you dictate, okay, who is who's our star players. That doesn't mean that we're going to be treating them any differently. What type of offense they're going to run, what type of ball handlers do they have, what type of is that ball handler in general in high school basketball, especially in our area. Our dribblers are they go to the side of their dominant hand or whatever they feel comfortable with or whatever they can get to. So they're gonna run, 9 times out of 10, especially if we're working a JV game. You got all right-handed players. All the players are going to go to the right. There are when we move up to the men's and women's, varsity games, 9 times out of 10, they're still probably going to go to the right or wherever they feel comfortable going to. Or they're going to go to the bench side so the coach can continually coach. Or they're going to, if they do have an offense, it usually starts on one particular side of the court, and then it might rotate to the other side. And the only reason I mentioned that because that gives us a kind of like a cheat sheet to how we're going to run down the court. So if we know that one team's always goes to the right, then if I'm in the lead, then I'm probably going to rotate to that side, and I'm going to cheat and be on that side because that puts my partner official as the trail or as a C going to trail. They knows that they can handle that primary matchups or how that play is going to rotate and be on that side. And so that's cataloging that particular play. It's cataloging those particular set plays for that particular team. And then if we go back up the court and then that team runs a zone, but then the opposing team has 2 people that play in the post and they like to do a high low and they pass it around or they like to hit the gaps and stuff. So that kind of lets us know it's like, okay, we may not need to rotate as much as we normally do because they're just kind of passing it around and they're looking to try to get the best shot. And also just think about just like, what a team does as far as do they dribble drive or they trying to shoot 3-pointers or, we're going to protect the shooters and looking for that. Dribble drive is making sure that the dribbler, yes, is going in, and is the defense trying to take player control fouls? That also means that we, stay with that dribble pass much longer than we normally do. Or is that, they do have one person who likes to, goes to the basket, to the right or left side. And then as far as what does that mean? It's like knowing when, where, and what are we cataloging? We're not cataloging every single individual play. We're cataloging kind of groups of plays. We're cataloging when that particular play happened. We need to know what the score is, what the situation, trying to think about just common sense officiating when we're talking about cataloging plays. Like I said, not every single play, but every type of play, between the types of players and plays, continuing to looking at it from a cataloging from an individual standpoint, but also cataloging plays from a crew standpoint. So if there is a team that the coach used to have to play aggressive defense all the time, and he wanted us to call fouls. And there are some times where you get stuck in one position on the court. You might get stuck at lead, you might get stuck at center, you might get stuck at trail. And realizing that, okay, my partner official he's got 5 hand checks. He or she's got 5 hand checks in a row. That's a trail. We run down the court, and then I'm in the C position, and I notice, okay, that's a handshake, but it's not in my area. It's in the gray area. I'm going to go ahead and call that foul. I've cataloged those 5 previous plays. We know the coach is playing aggressive defense. We know that because the coach is sending in every time there's a foul, he's sending a new player. Every 2 fouls, sending a new player. So he's trying to just slow down the game, but he's using players to play aggressively. So that means like, okay, I get that 6th foul. We rotate. We're moving to the new trail. Lead becomes that center. Lead becomes that trail. Hopefully you as the partner official who has not made, hasn't called any fouls on this particular end of the floor has realized like, okay, we need to call, the handshaking fouls, the body bumps, the turns, it's not a reach in, the slapping, the contact fouls on the dribbler. And that's what I mean by, cataloging plays as a crew. And then realizing that that needs to go, that needs to go on both. You can say it needs to go on both ends of the court, but we need to realize like if we're calling that same exact foul on one end of the court, we need to make sure that we are finding and addressing that same exact foul on the other end of the court and enforcing that type of foul. Yes, that does mean consistency. We should always be consistent. I mean, I went to a basketball meeting yesterday. My supervisor said that like, being consistent is like, is somewhat turning into a cop out. That's like that's a no-brainer for us as basketball officials. Yes, regardless of what the game is, we're going to be consistent. So we don't need to use that like, oh well, coach, we're being consistent. It's like no, we're from the time that we step out on the court to the time we walk off the court, from that single game, that doubleheader, that triple header, or even that quad, we're gonna be consistent. So what I mentioned is also being consistent. I mean, cataloging plays is anticipate the play, not the call. If we can feel what's coming, we can adjust our positioning. We can visually focus what's going on. And I mentioned high school basketball players and coaches, they're all creatures of habit. They're all, this is all the level that we're at is the level that the players are at, and yes, they are striving to be better players. But there is, I would say that the high school basketball here in our area, there are, from the private schools to the few 1A schools that we have, the 2A schools and the 3A schools, and then the 4A schools that we have. There's some 2A schools that are much better than some of our 4A schools. And then there's some 4A schools that will, that are much better than their 3A schools and stuff. So, but I would say that the level of play is different from night to night. And we know the level of play is different from, what goes on in the city compared to what goes on in the county and what goes on, out in the country. And we all have to go out there. We all know what the difference is and stuff, and how we have to relate and talk to players and talk to coaches, and that's all part of cataloging plays too. We catalog what's the how we call games within the Beltline or within the greater Beltline or within the Raleigh area, the Durham area, and then we catalog those particular plays or those particular games when there's totally different from when we go out into Harnett and Johnston County and Person County and Chatham County. Those are totally different, but we're still cataloging those types of plays. We're still cataloging those types of teams, those types of players, those types of coaches, those types of fans, the types of courts, the types of facilities that we go into. So it's all one big catalog that we're doing. So in closing, it's a lot to think about, but I also think about, we start cataloging those, those scenarios or situation, those, working with our partners and what they're going to call and what we should be calling and taking note of that, throughout the game. It starts when we get that, we also talk about it starts when we get that. Sometimes it does start when we get that assignment. Not that we're going to be making like, specific, like, having predetermined ways that we're going to officiate this particular game, but we kind of think about like that, on our drive over here to the site when we do pregame, if we're actually able to show up and look at some of the JV games, and then even cataloging the, kind of does help out when we do have double headers, because we can kind of adjust and work on those things and kind of be much more efficient and smoother in the second half of that first game. And then once we tip off for the first half of that second game, we should all be within the same chapter. But sometimes, sometimes a little bit hard for us to kind of get within, the same lines and stuff as far as, cataloging those particular plays and stuff. But any questions? All right, just like couple of reminders. We do have our state clinic, which is next Tuesday, 6:30 at Cardinal Gibbons. I would suggest that regardless of where you're coming from, I would leave early so you can get there on time. Just because the traffic has picked up. I'm not quite sure if there's a Hurricanes game that night or not, but if there is one, then that means it's going to be a little bit difficult getting to Cardinal Gibbons. Cardinal Gibbons does have a very thriving athletic program, so parking could be or access to the school could be a little bit difficult. If you have not taken the exam or started the exam, or know how to navigate Dragonfly, I would do that before the end of the week just to figure out like, okay, how do I access the exam and taking it and stuff. So I don't know if it's 100 questions or not. I know that the football one was only 50. So the basketball one might be shorter than that.
I took it today. It's 45 questions and 5 videos.
Oh, okay, sweet. Thanks for the update, Mark. So I guess that is we're getting a little bit of some consistency with that. So scrimmages will be coming out. There will I guess they'll be given out at the last 2 clinics. I would say that when thinking about and committing to scrimmages, there will be don't be disappointed that when you show up to I guess that'd be clinic number 5, that there's not a lot of scrimmages for you to choose from, because coaches sometimes don't communicate well with our regional supervisors by getting the correct dates and times for scrimmages and or athletic directors. So by that 6th clinic, there will be more scrimmages than we know what to do with. So please make sure that if you do sign up for a scrimmage, that you commit to that scrimmage and commit to being there the entire time that you are assigned to that particular scrimmage and stuff. So, and then get as many scrimmages in as you can. Those are some valuable opportunities when we're out on the court. It actually gives you the time to learn from some people, because we don't get to learn while we're working and stuff. So. And then check out the TBOA website, reftotriangle.com. Stay up to date on all of our news in the Triangle, especially when it comes to basketball officiating. So,
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, real quick. I'm not sure if you have the answer to this, but I haven't received my rule book yet. Do you have any information maybe when the rule books will get to us?
I can try to answer that. I know that the first batch for sure has been shipped out. At the NCHSAA, they tend to use bulk mail to save as much as they can on postage. I know that a number of people have actually gone by the office in Chapel Hill and picked up their books. So I know that it's a slow process, and it always has been, but just all I can tell you is to be patient, and remember on the exams too, you can start and stop as many times as you want to. So, if you want to start, and even if, don't have your books yet and you want to go ahead and get started and go over some questions, just save it and you can come back to it and wait till you get your rule books. But that's not a great answer, but I know that if you have paid your registration, you're on the list for it to be mailed, and it could be out now and you could get it tomorrow. It may still be a week. But again, they tend to ship those those rule books in bulk. So it's coming is the best I can tell you. I'm sorry.
Guys, and you can also
Thank you.
download the books on, if you have an Apple phone or a Samsung phone, you can load it in the bookstore or on Apple Play. And when you're doing your test, it's easily searchable. Search the text of the question and you've got an answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Greg, is there anything, we're still going to do the Kahoot after this as an optional thing, but Greg, is there anything that you wanted to say?
Not really. I think you covered it. Again, be mindful that the test began today. Be mindful that scrimmages are coming. November 12th, Saturday. I think I might have 15 courts running that day. So I'm going to need a lot of people. I'm going to obviously pass out the scrimmage information to the clinic leaders. I may end up putting it on self-assign as well because there are so many on the 12th. I will be sending you this information via email as I tend to do. So we're on top of it, but be mindful that November 12th is a very, very big day. And in that I'm going to need a lot of people. We're going to do the best we can. I've already let the athletic directors know that there are no guarantees. We're going to do all we can. And so just again, be mindful of that. Other than that, like Justin said, I'd get there early next week for Cecil on Tuesday, the 25th. And, that's pretty much it. I hope to start assigning in the next week or so. So make sure all your Dragonfly pay information has been taken care of. Make sure your closed dates are up to date. I don't have a lot early, but I do have games starting early. So I'll be assigning soon. So we need your, I need your closed dates up to date in Arbiter and Dragonfly. And one last thing, not everyone will be using Dragonfly. I don't know if I was completely clear at our association meeting. The 75 NCHSAA schools that we service do have to use Dragonfly. The other 30 schools will not. So the thing to be aware of, you will be getting 2 assignments when you're working at a school that has to use Dragonfly. If you're working at a school that doesn't, you'll just get one from Arbiter. So be aware of that. And the assignment that you get from Dragonfly may be as late as the day before the game or game day. It'll be much, much closer to the tip time. So don't panic. Arbiter is what is going to be my primary source. So you'll get those in plenty of time. Please accept your assignments as fast as you can so I can get them in Dragonfly as fast as I can. But that's about it.
Hi, Greg, this is Tim. Is Dragonfly going to be sending out texts or emails?
They will send out emails, and I think you can sign up for push notifications. They don't have a text feature, but I know I get a ton of push notifications when changes are made in Dragonfly. I think they just send out emails. I'm not certain if you can sign up for push notifications, Tim.
Thank you.
So we're gonna do our Kahoot next, but next Monday 6:30 is our next virtual clinic. The great thing is that the meeting link will be the same. So you don't have to, if you forget it, then you can go back through your emails that Greg sends you, and you can find the same Zoom link for next Monday at 6:30. Different format, different information. So we're going to keep y'all on your toes.
Thank you.
All right. So for those of you who want to stay on and do the Kahoots, I'm going to get that rolling here. So again, you will need a cell phone or an iPad or just some kind of device to play along, but it is an online trivia game. So Justin put this up. So this is how the Kahoot will work if you've never done it before. In a minute here, I'm going to pull up on the screen a code for you to put in. But you are going to navigate first to kahoot.it. So I can do it here, Justin. But if you're going to go to kahoot.it, and then you're going to put in the game code and you're going to hit submit. If you want to, please you can throw your first name in. Let me pull it up here on the screen. It'll make more sense. All right. Can you all see the Kahoot screen in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to kahoot.it. You can do that on your phone. You can do that on any kind of device. And then it should pop up a place for you to put in your game pin. And this is the game pin to put in. So I'll give you a minute or two here to do that. You can put in your name as the team name. And so we've got 15 questions for you. These are going to be some often misunderstood high school basketball rules. Obviously, this is optional, so if you got stuff to do, thank you for joining us. But this is totally optional if you'd like to play. So we'll give you a minute or two here to get your team names in. And then when we get done here, the top 3 teams, so the top 3 scorers, I will send you a free coupon code for a triangle treasure hunt, which is a scavenger hunt that you can do either in Raleigh, Durham. There's a bunch of different options. So that'll be the prize for the winning teams here today.
Hey, Ben,
yeah.
I have a question. I signed in under meeting chat and put my name and email in there, but I haven't been able to pull up the form you were talking about.
Yeah, so let me, I can put it back in the chat here for you. So you should see in the chat, you should see an attendance link and then a link to a Google form.
Okay.
Yeah, so just click that and put in your name and email, you'll be good. And that's
thank you.
Yeah, for anyone else, if you didn't fill out the attendance form during the meeting, go ahead and click that link in the chat. I'm gonna give just another minute or so here. Looks like we got a few more people popping in. We got a good amount. This is gonna be a good it's gonna be a good competition here.
I'm trying to get on. I'm not seeing the same board when I go to Cahoots. I'm going to try again.
Okay. Yeah, give it a try. You're going to just type in www.kahoot.it and then go ahead and put that game pin in. And if you can't get it to work, feel free to just kind of play along as we go through the questions.
Okay.
All right.
3,
We're getting there.
9, 6, 2, 7.
All right, I'm gonna give another like 10 seconds, and if you're not signed in yet, you can always sign in mid-game. The instructions should stay at the top. But again, if you can't get to work, feel free to just kind of play along. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna pop up a question on the screen, and then on your device, you're gonna have a few different options to choose from. You're gonna get points based on getting the correct answer, obviously, and then also how fast you put in your response. So if we do have any technical issues we go through, if your phone disconnects or something, just kind of play along and we'll just go through it. All right, here we go. Head start. Question number 1. Got this nice Halloween theme. So we got the misunderstood high school basketball rules. Here is your first question. True or false? A 3-second count continues after the release of a shot and during rebounding action. So you're going to put either the blue diamond for true or the red triangle for false. And they are only 10 seconds. You only got a few seconds to hit your response, because we got to make calls on the courts, and we don't get 10 seconds on the court to make calls, right? All right, false. So nice job. Everybody did really well there. So we know on a 3-second count, as soon as we have a shot that goes up, we no longer have a 3-second count going, right? Even though you're going to be hearing 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds from the crowd most of the game. Larry Bird in first place. All right, question number 2, true or false? A player who is not a dribbler can tap a ball inbounds, then go out of bounds, and come back inbounds and play the ball. Is that true or false? And we got 10 seconds. True or false? All right, so that one is true, right? So it's different than the football rule. Like we don't have the first one to touch after coming in bounds is not a rule in basketball. Once you've reestablished with 1 foot back in bounds and you're not touching anything out of bounds, you can play the ball, right? Joe taking the lead. Question 3, true or false? There is no such foul as over the back. True or false? All right, so that's more people missed that than I thought. So, this is probably, I would guess, one of the most misunderstood rules, right? Because we know we hear over the back all game long from mom and dad in the stands, right? But we don't have this signal. We don't have over the back, right? So if we do have a situation where a player is behind another player and they're jumping through them to get to the basketball, we may have a push, but we do not have over the back. Joe hanging on to the lead. All right, number 4, true or false? It is a foul if the defender reaches in, even if they do not make contact with the offensive player. Is it a foul if you reach in, even if you don't make contact? Nice job. We know we got to have contact, right? You're going to hear, he's reaching, he's reaching. Unless we have contact, we don't have anything. Question 5, true or false? It is possible for a player to travel while dribbling. Is that true or false? All right. So that is false. If a player is dribbling, they can't travel. We have to have possession of the ball to commit a traveling violation. All right. So that one's straight out of the rule book. Joe hanging on. It's close up there at the top. All right, number 6, true or false? A high dribble is always legal, provided the ball does not come to rest in the dribbler's hands. So a high dribble is legal, provided the ball doesn't come to rest in the dribbler's hand. True or false? Well done. We know that's another one. It just looks weird, right? Like those ones that just, oh, that looked funny. Right, but that doesn't mean we necessarily have a violation. So as long as we are keeping hand above the ball, we can dribble as high as possible. That's not a violation. All right, Aaron taking the lead here. He was quicker on that one. True or false? A kicked ball must be intentional to be ruled a violation. A kicked ball must be ruled intentional to be a violation. True. So that one was that was fairly split. Yep. So intentional is the key word for a kicked ball, right? There has to be intent to kick the ball. If it just gets thrown off somebody's leg, we don't have a kicking violation. Retaking the lead. Justin moving up. All right. Number 8. It is not legal for a player to rebound or catch his or her own air ball, provided the official deems the shot a try. It is not legal for a player to catch their own air ball, provided the official deems the shot a try. All right, most people got that one. Nice job. That is definitely a misconceived rule, misunderstood rule. Right, so as long as we have a shot, a legitimate try, we rule it as a try. Player that shot the ball can go catch it. And then they can dribble again, right? Because we've lost team control, we've lost player control when we have a try, right? All right, we're over halfway. Remember, top three are going to get the coupons. A defender does not have to give the dribbler a step. as long as legal guarding position has been obtained. The defender does not have to give the dribbler a step as long as legal guarding position has been obtained. Yeah, so that one's true. So as long as we establish legal guarding position, we can be an inch away from that dribbler, right? As close as we can get to without contact. So we do not have to give a step. Now, depending, we're talking about screens or guarding a player without the ball, that's when time and distance may become a factor. Two Joes at the top now. All right, the ball is out of bounds when it hits the side of the backboard. Is that true or false? Hits the side of the backboard. Nice job. So we know side, top, bottom, other side, front, those are all good. But if it goes entirely over the top of the backboard or hits the supports or anything behind the backboard, then the ball's out of bounds. Nice job. All right, we got a few left here. A moving screen is a foul even if contact does not occur. Nice job. So same with the reaching in question. We got to have contact, right? You can set the worst screen possible with a chicken wing and a drumstick out, but if nobody hits you and there's no contact, we got nothing. Just a really awkward looking screen. I was pretty good at those. All right, I think we got 3 or 4 left. Any unsportsmanlike contact during a dead ball must be ruled a technical foul. Sportsmanlike contact, contact being the key word, during a dead ball is the other key word, must be ruled a technical foul. Good. So this is why we have to know when the ball is live and the ball is dead. Because if we have contact during the play, right, while the ball is live, our options are different, right? We got personal foul, intentional foul, flagrant personal. But when we have a dead ball, our only option for contact is going to be a technical foul. Good job. 3 left. A defensive player must be stationary to take a charge. I don't know how many coaches or players or parents have told you this over your officiating career, but I know I've heard it at least 5 or 6 times, and it is false. Nice job. So we know players can be moving. They establish legal guarding position, and they're moving, but they're not coming towards the offensive player when contact occurs. They're still legal. All right, 2 questions left. Let's see who's going to take home the Triangle Treasure Hunt gift cards. Top 3. When an airborne shooter commits a player control foul, a successful try counts if the try is released before the foul. All right. So we commit a player control foul. We're going to count that basket as long as it's released before the foul. Is that true or false? It is false. When we have a player control foul, we're not scoring the bucket. Right? It doesn't matter. We don't have to worry about whether the ball was released before the whistle blew. All right. Last one. All comes down to this. Goaltending always occurs when a defensive player blocks a shot after the ball has hit the backboard. Goaltending always occurs when a defensive player blocks a shot after the ball has hit the backboard. True or false? Nice job. So this one's different than, I think, the NBA rule, right? The backboard plays no factor in goaltending for us in high school. So it's only going to be goaltending if the ball is on its downward flight and it's still above the rim with a chance to go in. Nice job. All right, let's see who is top 3. All right, Joe P coming in 3rd. Nice job. Chris W coming in 2nd. And another Joe coming in 1st. Awesome. So nice job. If you 3 would please in the chat shoot me your full name and email address, and I will get you those coupons. So again, Joe P, Chris W, in the chat, shoot me full name and email address, and I'll send it out to you. But thank you all for playing along. We'll do another one of these next week, and have a great go watch some football. And Justin, anything you want to say at the end?
No, I think we're good. Like I mentioned, same link for next week and stuff. So thanks y'all for staying on and for the quiz.
Awesome. Thanks y'all. So it actually will be I think Greg will send out next week's link in an email. So click that one. But thank you all. Have a great rest of the night.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. Hey, Joe K, can you just shoot me your email address?
Sure.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. All right, Chris and the two Joes, I'll shoot you an email here later tonight with those coupons. So congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you, folks.